tonight we're going to do a short talk and then a longer meditation. And the topic is about the question of the week. The question of the week being, what role does surrender have in your practice? And if you have no surrender in your practice, you're one of those people who are like, I hold on to everything and I cannot let myself relax. I should mention, by the way, that we are back on Instagram. For those of you watching, we were off for a bit when we figured out our account, but we're back on. Actually, that's a great example. So we got our Instagram account suspended for no reason, and we're like, why did this happen? This is strange. So then I started like writing a note to Facebook every day and like going through this appeal process on Instagram. And I was like, how come they're not responding? How come they're not responding? And then we heard from somebody that said that you need to just send them a message and let it go, because every time you do it again, it resets the wait time until they respond to your message. So sure enough, I just sent one and let it go. And then a week later, they responded and fixed the whole thing. We're back on now. The scene from Tommy Boy that I like to reference with this kind of topic, if you've not seen Tommy Boy, depending on the person that you are, I'm not going to suggest that you see it, but I enjoyed it. But there's a scene where Chris Farley, God rest his soul, is talking about this problem with being an effective salesperson. It's because he gets all excited about it, and I can't do a Chris Farley impression, but I'll just say that it says the sale is like a little bird, and he like loves it, and he pets it, and then he squeezes it, and he crushes it, and it dies. And this is sometimes what we do in our life and in our practice, where what is really going to be the best course of action for us is just to let go and let it happen, whatever it is. And the more we squeeze and get attached to the way that we want things to go, what we hold on to with our attachment, the worse our experience is and the less likely it's going to happen. So for Tai Chi, I love talking about this all the time. What happens is we're doing Tai Chi, and we start getting this thought in our head that sounds like, ooh, I'm going to be really good at Tai Chi right now. I'm going to be the best that I've ever been. I'm going to try to get really low with this stance, or I'm going to get very fluid, and I'm going to be really great. I'm going to be amazing at Tai Chi, me. And then that attachment and that ego actually prevents us from being great at Tai Chi, because true martial arts, it has to flow through you. It's not something that you force to happen. So when you surrender to the moment, you allow what you have taught yourself to do to flow through you naturally and instantaneously. You are creating, and it feels like magic. This is what it feels like when you surrender. And in meditation, you are definitely going to experience this. If you are meditating like, I've got to meditate really well right now, it's got to be the best meditation, it's got to be perfect, I can't let my mind wander, I've got to do it right now. And that is its own form of attachment. And that is going to stop you from being able to relax and let your mind flow with the breath, right? You're going to have a rigid mind and a rigid body. You're going to be sitting there all tense. And surrender means that I'm okay with it going however it goes. And I'm going to let the moment just take me. Meditation will feel amazing, and your mind will be in the right state when you just actually let it happen by itself. When you are sparring in martial arts, the tendency is, let's actually use grappling. let's say you're practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you feel the same thing kind of when you're doing push hands and Tai Chi, but it's you and your partner, and you respond to this most often by tensing. And the ego comes into play right away, and it feels like this: me versus you, only the strong survive. I've got to win right now. It's a great opportunity to recognize the ego. And martial arts on some level is discovery of and destruction of the ego. And so we don't want to shy away from that experience, but we then want to be able to let it go. So if you're grappling with somebody, it should feel like you are flowing with them. There's an amount of, control, there's an amount of explosive energy and movement, but really ultimately to get to the highest possible level of practice, we have to relax and feel our partner's energy. We cannot actually feel the energy unless we are relaxed mentally and physically. We can't be aware of it, and we can't play with the energy. The energy has nowhere to go if we're super rigid and we're stopping our partner from moving. So when we relax and we surrender, this is different from we surrender to just letting them, choke us or letting them push us or whatever. But we surrender in the moment to the energy that our partner is giving us, and then we can play with it and redirect it and move with our partner like a dance, right? If you're dancing with somebody, it should not feel like you are moving them around and slamming them around. I'm not great at dancing, but I know that much. And if you're grappling with somebody, it should feel the same, right? You are surrendering in the moment to whatever's happening, and you can actually let your partner lead the dance in practice. And then you just, you are letting them initiate the movement, but then you steer it in a way that they didn't really want it to go. Now, your mind sometimes is going to be your best partner that will really be a challenge to practice with, because your mind wants to be in the ego state. Your ego really wants to be in charge. When you meditate, your ego doesn't like it. Your ego wants to say, no, you can't do this right now. We got to do this or we got to do that. I got to think about this. I got to stress about that thing. And the difference between trying to force those thoughts out and accepting the energy and then just letting it right through is going to be the difference between success and failure in meditation. And even then, when you start thinking about, I've got to be successful with my meditation, I cannot fail, that's ego, right? But the experience is going to be much better. So the thought comes up, and the thought is like, you're in a room, and your room is your little head here. This is your tiny room that you spend your whole life in. And the thought is like knocking on the door on this side, and it's pushing really hard. And what you can do is you can push back against that door and don't let it in, but just the fact that you're resisting against it is its own kind of distraction thought. Or you can open the door, and the thought that was pushing kind of goes like, it falls in, and then you just open the other door, and the thought just goes right out. And that is the experience that we want to have in meditation. The act of just letting the thought flow through and then letting it go, like you're opening up the other door and just letting it, let that energy take the thought all the way through. This is surrender. And when we surrender in meditation, we go back to the breath. But we don't go back to the breath like this. I realize that I'm not meditating and I get angry, and so I force my brain to go back to the breath. No, I surrender because I recognize that I'm thinking. I let the thought go by just feeling the very next breath. I feel it come in, feel it go out. I surrender to the sensation of the breath. That's not judging the breath. It's not judging yourself for how bad you are in meditation. It is just surrendering to the feeling, like you're letting yourself drown in the breath. The breath comes up and it fills up your whole being. It's natural, and it is in the moment that it's happening, the easiest thing that you will ever do. The trick is kind of, continuing to allow yourself to go back to it and not making it feel like a forceful thing. So we are going to do a longer meditation tonight, not super long, about 20 minutes. You guys at home can meditate for as long as you want to. But as we're doing this, check how it feels. If meditation feels like an angry, stressful, forceful thing, that's not meditation. That's using meditation as an excuse to be angry, stressful, and forceful. What we want to do is experience this like surrender. Experience it like it's the easiest thing. We let the breath take us up and move our mind in and out with the breath. Our mind should feel like kelp, just moving with the motion of the ocean. It's moving with the motion of the breath, surrendering to that feeling. There's nothing that has to be done to it. There's no act that needs to take place. There is just the purest sense of being. That is what surrender allows us to experience. So sit comfortably.